guys, welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today guys, we have a story time. But before we get into that, let me say my grace. Thank you, dear Father, for the food you've given us. In Jesus' name, we're truly thankful. Amen. You ready to do this? Let's go. Hey, my peeps, it's about to go down. If you like what you see, stay and chill for a while. Hit the bell, thumbs it up, subscribe to our channel. We're going to have fun and do this mukbang. We have Boudin and potatoes and have some shrimp in my butter sauce. My husband had already eaten, and these were just leftovers that he ate. So I was like, yeah, let's just put it with my Boudin so it doesn't go to waste. So let's get into it. Let me give me a shrimp. I might have overcooked and put them back in that hot butter sauce. Guys, it is so good. Okay, as you can see by the title, I have a story time, but it's a little more than a story time to me, guys. This is actually a really close friend of mine. Growing up and went to high school together, we hung out together, we did a lot of things together. She moved before she graduated. I moved before we graduated, so we didn't see each other in our last few years. But I was so sad because, okay, I don't know where I stopped because my camera cut off again. So anyway, we were really good friends and we lost touch with each other. That's so good. Her name was Natasha, ATCHLEY, and it was all over the news. It's just, it's really, really sad. So Natasha moved in high school, and she went to Odessa High School. Odessa, I think. I remember the name Odessa. And she had come back to visit some friends in Livingston. And there's a little town right beside Livingston. It's called Shepherd, Texas. And that night, she had went to a party. Oh yeah, and I have tea, guys, and sweet tea. That night she had went to a party, a birthday party. It was late. It was a late night. After that, we really don't know what happened. I'm sure you can Google it. It's been all over. But so many stories had come about. There was drugs involved. And not to defame her name or to paint an ugly picture of her, because that's not who she was. She did go to this party and there was drugs there. I'm not saying she didn't do any, because I don't know, I wasn't there. When I knew Natasha, that wasn't a part of our life. But time had passed. So anyway, and I say rumor because nobody was speaking that night, because everybody was drunk, doing heavy drugs, or just not talking. The report says there was like 15 to 20, maybe 20 to 30 people there at the party, and none of them are talking. A couple of them are even passed away. But this is how it goes that night. Natasha went to the party. There were some fights that broke out with her. Supposedly, this is what people have said. Supposedly, several fights with several different women that night. Let's start my napkin. So they reported her as leaving around 3 o'clock, 3 a.m. alone in her red, I want to say it was red, Corvette. I think it was an 89 Corvette. And the next thing they know is someone had called and reported a car on fire. So the police came, and she'd gone to the party, and it was out at, if I believe correctly, it was out at 5 Acres Independence, and it's down Independence Road out in Shepherd, Texas. And the cops came, they saw a car fire, and it had been smoldering. It was a burnt out car. It had been burning for a while. So he did his paperwork and left it, and then they had it towed. A lot of missteps happen, I feel. I really do. So, let me back up. Natasha's mother reported in letters that she wrote later on. Saturday night at about 1 o'clock in the morning, she woke up with a really bad dream, and she saw Natasha's face bloody and beaten. She was worried from there on out. She set out to go look for her. She didn't come home the next morning. She found out that her car had been burned out. So the next Monday, the mother went to the impound where the car was at, and Natasha's car, Camaro, was at. And she had a spare key. And she's like, it's her daughter. She wants to find out what happened. So she uses her spare key, and she pops the trunk, just looking for stuff. Who knows what she was looking for? She pops the trunk, and she sees what appears to be a body, a burnt body. It was so bad, so burned beyond recognition. This starts the investigation rolling. So they go and they start asking questions and trying to figure out what all happened. I was on May 3rd. May 3rd. On a Saturday. So they couldn't get to the bottom of it. Nobody knew anything. There was different stories. People were saying different things. They were reported to have LSD out there. They said the girls that she was fighting, nobody was talking. Good delicious butter, y'all. Sorry guys, this is good. Anyway, so nobody was talking, nobody was putting out any information, but down this road, 5 Acres Independence, there's oil rigs, it's just little farms, And the accelerator that started the car on fire was oil rig dipped in there, poured on the car, and set the car on fire. That's pretty elaborate. It takes a lot of thinking. And they think it's more than one person who did it. She was 19, guys. 19 years old. Went to a party. Got in a fight with some girls. Supposedly, because that's what was said. Left the party around 3 a.m. alone, they said, to go home. And she was murdered. Now, here's something strange. Her dad was murdered when he was 22. He was out at a bar with his second wife, and him and his wife got into an argument, and the wife's brother I'm not getting mad at all. The wife's brother and him had got into a fight. They were drinking. So he takes off and starts walking down the road. Well, the wife and the brother come down the road and they stop. Somehow somebody gets stabbed. His wife gets stabbed in the chest. He stabs her in the chest, is what was said. And I could be wrong about this. He stabbed the brother in the leg. Anyway, he was shot and killed at 22 years old. And then here's Natasha, murdered at 19. And then her mother, I'm not going to say the year because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I want to say in 94. Anyway, years after Natasha was murdered, her mother wrote letters after letters after letters. You can actually go on to A Mother's Grief, type that in on Google, and you'll hear a podcast of people just discussing the murder and how her mother never gave up, fought left and right. There was some, hang on. It was thought, she thought she knew who did the murder. There was 2 people arrested, but never was tried, was let go. If I'm telling the story wrong, if any of my friends are seeing that I'm telling the story wrong, please, by all means, feel free to comment down below and correct me. Because I'm just telling you what I've read in the newspapers and some of the reports that have been on a podcast. The mother wrote letters after letters after letters saying what she felt, what she thought, what was going on, who she thought it was. At one point, they thought it was a cop that was involved. She was upset about the shoddy police work because they lost all evidence when they came out there and they towed the car from the crime scene, because at the time they just thought it was a burnt out car. Had they inspected it, checked the trunk, maybe the story might have been different. But they towed the car. The mother is the one that found the body because she went to the car just to look, just being a mother. And she looked in there and she found Natasha's body. But her mother died. She's left a lot of letters because she was corresponding with a news lady that was handling it. And the mother died of cancer. So, and Natasha was very, I wouldn't say spoiled, but she was very baby because her grandparents did everything for her. She was the only granddaughter. So, yeah, they pretty much spoiled her. She had a brother. Has a brother. He's quite a few years older than we were. Last I heard, he lives in Houston. They have different last names. But yeah, it's tragic. I'll put some pictures in here of what she looked like. She's beautiful, y'all. She was my classmate. It's an unsolved murder. Somebody out there knows something. It's almost been 29 or 30 years since she was murdered. She was 19 and I was 20. I didn't find out about it until after years had passed, and I looked on Facebook and I saw a memorial for her, and almost just lost it. You know, because you lose touch with people that you don't see after so many years. But there's two of our friends who have done a little reenactment of the drive out there where she was found, and who has searched endlessly to try to find answers, because somebody knows something. I just pray and hope that somebody that was out there on their dying bed tells what happened. Tells what happened, so we can just put this to rest, because right now it's just an unsolved murder. Her mother, they wanted to, there was rumor that it wasn't Natasha in the back of the trunk. Her mother went, and the coroner and everybody said yes, it was. They verified who she was. Natasha had her jaw broke when she was younger. Some kind of wiring in her mouth. The coroner gave her mom the ashes, the remains. She buried some of the remains with Natasha's dad, who had died years earlier. I think Natasha was 2 when her dad died, was murdered. And then so she went and she got the skull from the coroner. This is all public record. She went and got the skull from the coroner and the ashes of it, and she spread it out on Lake Livingston. And she said Natasha would be at peace. And so her mother spread her ashes all out here on Lake Livingston. That's so sad. And in a letter, Natasha's mom talks about all she has left of her daughter are the wires that wouldn't burn. And that's what her mom has left of her. That is so sad. Was, you know, when your mom and dad die, you're an orphan. When your husband or your wife dies, you're a widow. But when your kid dies, there's no word for what you are, because it's not natural. It's not supposed to happen that way. So I just thought that was really, really sad. It just broke my heart. And I'm sure Natasha's mother died with a broken heart. I mean, she never found out what happened to her daughter. To this day, they've never found out what happened to her. So, I'm going to do some more research. This just came across my mind today. I was just sitting there, and a Facebook picture popped up, and it was of Natasha. And I was like, I want to pay her homage. You know, I have a platform. I want to pay her some respect. But if you or anybody you know, or if you're watching this and you know of anything that happened to Natasha ATCHLEY back in 1990, May 3rd, in Livingston or Shepherd, Texas, at 5 Acres Independence Road, if you know anything about this, the smallest thing, even if you don't even think it means anything, I'm going to put a link in my description box below, and it's an FBI hotline tip that they have set up for her. And yeah, guys, if you know anything, or if you know anybody that knows anything, it's been almost 30 years ago. Somebody knows something. Somebody's going to say something. And hopefully we can just put this to rest, and it won't be a cold case, and it won't be an unsolved murder of my classmate. So yeah, I just felt like I wanted to speak on that today. Maybe somebody knows something. One of our friends, she had children, and I believe, God, it's been years, I believe the first 2 children that she had, somewhere in their name, she put or gave her children a part of ATCHLEY's name. I think the 3rd child, she might have actually named, I'm not for sure. Yeah, I'm not really for sure. I will go check it and research it. I was cooking dinner and this just popped up, and I was just like, oh my God, I want to, I want to talk about this. I want to give her respect. She was a really good friend of ours. Let me tell you a really quick story before I close. Natasha, we had to be probably, I was 16, so she had to be 15. My chair's squeaky, y'all, sorry. And we were gonna go cruising the strip. Natasha was 15. I was 16. I had rules that I had to follow. But Natasha's grandparents, I want to say it was her grandparents. I know her mom lived there too, but I think it was her grandparents. Were really, really, really strict. So we decided we were going to go out one night. Just cruise the strip in Livingston like we always did. Go to Sonic. I told y'all in my last video this is what we did. Go to Sonic, cruise the strip, 59, turn in the park, our park there in Livingston. And at the park, it was a big park, and then it had the big golf course backed into it. And then there was really some really nice houses that were backed up to the golf course. So it was just all right there. So we're cruising. Natasha wanted to go. One of my friends that was in the car said, let's go by and pick Natasha up. I was like, oh, okay. So they said, go to the park area. I'm thinking, okay. So I go to the park. We go at the very back of the park where the golf course actually starts. And we park. And we're seeing, she's like, kill your lights. I'm thinking, oh God, this cannot be good. So we kill the lights. We're sitting there. I have my little bitty Dodge little sports car. It's not sports, it's sporty. And we're sitting there. We're in the dark. We're teenagers. We're giggling. We're laughing. We're trying to be quiet. There was no cell phones. Couldn't call. So we waited. And we waited. And we waited. We scare ourselves. We spook ourselves. Oh my God. Because now we're off the beaten path here. We're back over here where not too many people are at. And we're looking. And when you look past, there's a fence. And you can look past. And you can see the back of a house. It has like a little balcony at the back. And we see some movement. And all of a sudden, we see a bag get thrown over. And we're looking. Then we see Natasha. She comes shimmying down the little balcony. Runs, jumps over the fence, gets in the car and says, let's go, let's go. So we went. We had fun, y'all. We had we did nothing. We did nothing. We just cruised the strip. Probably talked about our crushes. Probably followed them around because they were older than us. Probably got on their nerves. Went by the Fame Theater. And just had fun. Got back. Dropped her off. And she shimmied back over the fence. I don't know how the girl got back in the house. I don't know. We never asked. She got in trouble. She got caught. She did get caught. She didn't give anybody up. She said she just went out. She told her parents, or I think her grandparents, that she went out and she sit on the golf course and just sit there. Just needed time by herself. They believed it, but they didn't want her going out of the house. So, yeah, we had some fun. And it was sad when I found out that she had passed because some years had passed. About 10 years had passed. And I didn't know that a really good friend of mine had been murdered. But, yeah. If y'all want to look it up, Google it. Natasha ATCHLEY, she was murdered May 3rd, 1990 in Shepherd, Texas. And how she was murdered, we don't know. There was, you know, all kind of speculation, but she was found by her mother, of all people, in the trunk of her car. It was a hatchback, and she had been burnt. I don't know if I know, or if I didn't want to hear, or if my mind would let me comprehend it, but I don't know if she was alive or dead at that point. But yeah, it's a cold case. It's an unsolved murder, and I hope one day we can sit here and we can say we found, you know, the person who did it, or the people who done it. I do believe they had help, because I don't think a teenager would have the, I don't know, to go to the oil field and look in the get the oil from the oil field and burn the car. That's just too mature for me, I think. I don't know. But anyway, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. If y'all like to, let's just do a little moment of silence for a very, very dear friend of mine. And I pray one day that her murder is solved. So let's just do a moment of silence. Guys, like I said, if you have any information, if you just stumble across this page and you're like, oh, I know something about that, please notify somebody. Let them know. Even if it's just really, really small, let them know. I thank y'all for coming to my page. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, make it turn gray, and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified of all of our videos that we upload first. And to all of my day ones, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Y'all stuck with me, and we can only go up from here. Thank you guys, and I love y'all.